Welcome to episode 99 of the High Volume Hiring Podcast. I am Stephen Rothberg, the founder of College Recruiter Job Search Site. We believe that every student and recent graduate deserves a great career and that it should be easy and inexpensive for employers to hire them. Episode 99 is got to be the best episode because it's the same number as Wayne Gretzky. And for those of you who don't know who Wayne Gretzky is, shame on you. Turn off the broadcast. You're not welcome. And on that
Oh my
note,
God, ignore that. So,
my
just Google it or ask ChatGPT.
very well. Okay,
There we
ChatGPT,
go.
AI, that leads into it. My co-host Jeanette, you're on the
Perfect.
road. You're joining us.
I
Thank you
am on
for
the
going
road.
to where the puck is going to go, not where it's been.
For all those hockey fans out there. Hi, everyone. Jeanette Leeds, COO of College Recruiter. I was almost going to say Campus Recruiting. My God, I pretended I was back at Lehman Brothers or Credit Suisse. HR Tech Advisor, AI Coach, and super excited because today we're talking about how do we ensure that we can use AI for good. And we have Justin Olin. He's the VP at Upwage here to talk about this topic. So Justin, welcome. So happy to have you here talking about AI as we go to the puck.
Yes, so excited to be here. I'm gonna have to find a way to work in some hockey references here. Although I live in Arizona, we don't have a hockey team anymore, so I'm not sure I can participate in this.
Yeah, we'll figure out something. Well, why don't we kick it off? Give us a little background. Tell our listeners who are you? Tell us about Upwage for those who don't know, and then we'll get into the meat.
Yeah, so like they said, I'm vice president of sales here at Upwage. I've been in this space for almost 20 years at monster.com in the early aughts. Spent about 13 years building Glassdoor from the ground up. So employee double digits there. And then really moving to how this world is changing. So I've seen this world go from print to online when job boards were brand new. I've seen it move from online to employer branding when people were scared of leaving reviews. And now it's moving into the world of AI. And so really excited to be here with Upwage. Like we said, we're focusing on AI for good, which is, there's so much doom and gloom in this space. So how do we give some good news to people and really focus on how we use AI to impact positively the disruptive nature of AI, which is kind of a circular argument, but that is wholly what we're focused on is how we use this and we use it well.
Cool. And so for the listeners who don't know what Upwage is, give us the elevator pitch because I think it'll provide some really good context to the conversation.
Yeah, so Upwage allows companies to screen all of their candidates that are coming through and to really be an assessment and not just some static assessment, but assessment that's really based on competencies. So much of what we see today is looking at resumes and having to make decisions in 8 or 10 seconds, and heaven forbid somebody formats a resume or leaves off a keyword. We really give a chance for all candidates to have a chance to tell their story. And for companies to have genuine curiosity and as much time as they need to listen to candidates, and so they can find the best quality hires and candidates that are going to fit and really be forward looking of who's going to be the best person we can hire.
Oh, that's interesting. That's great context. I'm like, I have so many questions in that area, but I'm like, no, I'm going to stick a bit to the topic, but weave it back in. So, okay, main topic, and you had said this beginning, like using AI for good. Like there's so much angst, right? Stephen and I were talking earlier, sometimes entry level roles, it's getting a little tougher, like again, some doom and gloom, but like there's also such positivity here. Like there's so much that could be done. So maybe just talk to a little bit about how can we ensure, again, our topic, being used for good, or maybe give some examples from, what you're seeing and doing.
Yeah, so the great news is we get to build this. AI doesn't have a conscience. It's not making decisions. It's a mirror on what we tell it to do. And so if we choose to use AI for good, then we're going to use AI for good. And so we actually wrote a book about AI for good simply because everything that we heard again was doom and gloom and people saying, oh, automate and replace. And it's like, no, we should be using AI to unlock potential and to take some of this like unburdening off of people so that we can really focus on the things that we do best, which is those human to human interactions. And for candidates, it's a great chance to use AI for good for them too. We hear all the time that recruiters say, oh, I can look at a resume and I know in 8 or 10 seconds. And none of us would want to be judged in 8 or 10 seconds. And it's not an indictment on the recruiter. we've just gotten to the point where it's impossible to care at scale. And so using AI as a way to care at scale is wonderful, allowing people to actually tell their story. The tools, I've been in this space for 20 years, tools that we've built, ATSs are built to rank and reject and sort, but they're not built to discover, and there's no curiosity in that process. So adding that back in gives candidates a chance to have a voice and removes just this perennial black hole that they feel like they operate in.
Okay, I have to say the best line that I have heard in weeks is care at scale.
I literally just typed that up. I'm like,
Yeah. It's like if you guys haven't trademarked that, don't, because I want to. So
yeah, we did.
so before you said that and described that, Justin, I was kind of envisioning what I've heard a number of times from a number of vendors, that we use AI to rank, to score candidates so that recruiters can spend more time on the candidates who are the most highly qualified. We're kind of more inclusive. We can ferret out details that, like you said, a recruiter isn't going to see in 8 seconds. What is Upwage doing that's different? What is sort of helping you help the recruiter be more caring?
Yes, that's a great question. So one of the things that we do different is really competency mapping of what is it that you're looking for? What makes somebody ramp quickly? What makes somebody a great employee? Separating good from bad is fairly easy to do. Separating good from great is hard. And understanding what's that last 10%, what's that last 20%. And so we really talk to recruiters about, hey, what are you looking for? What are the hiring managers telling you need? What are we trying to solve for? What do your best employees look like? And then building that into the assessments and then building that into those competencies. And because these aren't static competencies and static assessments like we've seen in the past in this space, it can evolve in real time. So as companies are evolving and jobs are changing, it's allowing them to do that. The other thing we're seeing a lot of is there are jobs that are being created today. There's nobody that has 3 years experience in these jobs. And so how do we map skills to these jobs? And so we work with companies in terms of what is somebody who's going to continue in a role or who's going to grow? What does it look like? Do you need learners? Do you need people that have curiosity? Do you need out of the box thinkers? And so really giving them a chance to sit back and take a second to digest what they're looking for, and then have a system that's really hyper focused on only doing that. And again, 24 hours a day with endless curiosity to be able to discover that.
This is really interesting. Caring at scale reminds me a bit of preschool teachers telling kids oh, sharing is caring, and this is how do you then do this at scale? Which is just, that's where my mind went. So let's take this a step further and go more into the scale. Do you have any stories of, again, we're high volume hiring podcast, everything we think about is at scale. It has to be, right? It's not 5, 10 hires. We're talking hundreds. So do you have any great examples that you could share where there's been an impact of the caring at scale? I'm sort of obsessed with that as well. Care at scale. That you could share with our listeners just to bring it to life a little bit more.
Yeah, so there's 2 impacts. The one I can touch on really quickly is candidate impact. Our NPS score from over 70,000 candidates that have left feedback is over a 9. They absolutely love it. And so we hear things like, I was able to take care of my child and still take this interview, right? I'm somebody who gets shy. So it's like an introvert's dream. I'm somebody who gets shy easily. This was so nice for me to be able to take a second and just put my thoughts together. So that's part of that caring. And then from the employer side, it's really opening up recruiters and hiring managers to be able to do those things that only they can do, which is turn, interest into excitement and excitement into offers. And so we worked with one company that had 5,800 recruiters nationally. They see 7 million resumes a year or applications a year. And the average time to fill was about 6 hours between scheduling phone interviews, actually doing interviews and going through the entire process. We were able to drop that to 2 hours per hire and free them up to go be able to do all the other things that they want to do. And when we track that from an ROI standpoint, it was north of $15 million of actual business impact. And so that's the really nice thing. I think so many times in high volume hiring, HR is looked at as a cost center. It's go do more with less, go do more with less. And to be able to turn around to the business and say, hey, it turns out like we actually had a big impact on the business. Like we've made a change. We're hiring better people. We're lowering turnover. It's actually really empowering for recruiters as well.
I wanted to ask you about where you see assessments fitting in to the process. I've seen some organizations put every single applicant through an assessment process. I've even seen some organizations that essentially say you can't apply until you've been assessed and that your assessment is above some kind of score. I think traditionally assessments have come towards the end, right? We had 200 people apply. Here are the 20 finalists. We're going to have them go through an assessment. Again, for that high volume kind of environment, where do you think the assessment should be in that process?
Actually, I think the closest to application, the better. I think we're going to get to a world in the next 3 years where the apply button disappears, and especially on high volume roles. Why am I putting a high volume candidate through an ATS system to create a login and go through the entire application process and leave a resume that somebody may or may not look at? And if they do, maybe it's 30 seconds before they call me. We're actually seeing companies do this today. So GoPuff InBev, when you click apply on their site, you actually just immediately go into a conversational assessment. And so because the assessment world is moving from I have to answer all these DISC and Myers-Briggs behavioral questions to actual conversation where there's EQ and language is being mirrored and it's star interviewing, we're seeing candidates love actually having a conversation. And so I actually think the assessment's going to move closer and closer because resumes are going to start telling us less and less. And especially as we move into this new world where jobs are being lost and new jobs are being created, because a resume is just, again, it's rear facing and it's going to tell less and less. And so I think we're going to see these assessments and these conversations moving closer and closer to the top of the funnel.
Jeanette, I think we have time.
That's really
I
interesting.
think we have time for one more question.
Oh yeah.
You're on deck.
I'm on deck.
All these sports
I
analogies
love this.
today. I don't know what this is from.
Seriously. I know, right? Okay. So I think that's really interesting. I agree. It makes sense with the assessment moving forward and this evolution. What other, let's do like big trends, right? We're like back to school time, whatnot, September. What else do you see in the future with AI and hiring?
So the back to school is a trend. I just dropped my oldest son off at college a couple of days ago. And it's something we think about internally a lot is what do we tell a 16-year-old today? What do we tell an 18-year-old today? Because we are starting to see the social contract break a little bit. It was, if you go to school, then you're going to come out and get this great job. And we saw for a long time, schools were training people to do specific roles so they could go get a job. And that's changing. And so when we think of this idea of AI for good, it's what skills should we be teaching kids? What are these competencies that they should be learning so that companies know that they can hire them and they will come out and be successful within these companies. So we're starting to work with organizations to really map that as well, because I think we're going to get to a place in the near future where companies are doing a lot of this training. So that question is very near and dear to my heart in terms of what do we tell college kids? And I think AI is going to be the answer to what we tell them they need to work on as we figure out how competencies of today match the jobs of tomorrow.
So universities are going to go back more to where they started, which was basically teaching you how to think rather than being more vocational programs.
Yep.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And for all of us, learning how to think wouldn't be such a bad thing. I aspire to that.
And on that note, Justin, it was great having you on the podcast today. It's a perfect. This is awesome. Really interesting. Lots of things to think through as we're going through this. I was going to say evolution, but revolution, all of the above. So until next time, next episode, everyone, will be episode 100. So Justin, you were number 99 again, as we learned, Wayne Gretzky. But also the last double digits.
The last of the double digits. It's the year I graduated high school too, so 99 holds a special place in my heart.
Even better.
Steven's gonna have a Caring at Scale shirt on next time we meet, and I'm gonna realize that I should have trademarked it.
If anybody can come up with a better mantra than that, drop it in the comment. And if you think you have a good one, drop it in the comment, and I think a whole lot of people will tell you no. That's not better than carrying a scale. Justin, it has been awesome. Congratulations on your kid heading off to
Thank you.
college.
Yeah, big milestone.
Cheers.
Good stuff.
Cheers, everybody.
Take care, everyone.